Assalamualaikum everyone and good morning. This is the final chapter of MGT 361 and it is all about the global marketplaces and business centers. Okay, so this is the chapter objectives in this chapter 12. Okay, what you need to know in this chapter is that to evaluate the impact of the political, economic characteristic of the world's various marketplaces on a business. So it's very important to know the national income in order to do a decision making. So we have to make sure that the country that we are going to do a business, we have the capability and purchasing power to buy our product. So this chapter basically is about the North America, Western Europe, Asia, and other parts of the marketplaces such as African, Middle Eastern, and South American countries. All right. What is global marketplaces? So the global marketplaces refers to the term used to describe the exchange of goods, ideas, and services uninhibited by geographic borders. So in a global marketplace, organization can target and access relevant customers bases regardless of their proximity. So the benefits of participating in global marketplace. Okay, just imagine if you are doing business with US or UK or any country, its stability during economic turbulence, expanded our market share, enrich our workforce, and the important thing is that we will keep up with the technology. We can improve our technology, and we have the access to vital resources, among others. Right, so this is the latest 2017 statistic on the GDP. Of course, the top one is United States, where they have 24.08% of GDP. Second, China, and of course China have the highest population in this world with the total GDP of 15.12%. But in terms of the income, okay, we have here the GDP per capita. Of course, US has far more better compared to the China. Same goes to India. India is number 5. So you can refer to this website. Alright, so this is the marketplaces of North America. It is consists of US, Canada, Mexico, Greenland, and the countries of Central America and the Caribbean. So US, okay, United States, they are the third largest population in the world after China and India, and the fourth largest land mass, and they are the largest economy in this world, and they are prime market for exports. So the US dollar also used is invoicing currency and flight capital. Okay, so we have Canada. This Canada is under North America. They are the second largest landmass, and 80% of population concentrated along US Canadian border. That makes them more attractive and easier to do business with US. And of course, they have the rich and natural resources, including forest products, petroleums, minerals, and grain. All right, so the advantage, of course, proximity of to US market. They are stable in terms of legal and political system, and excellence infrastructure and educational system. That's why political stability and stable legal system is very important to determine the economic growth of particular country. So this is the map of North America, and also we have Mexico. This is still under North America. They are the largest Spanish speaking nation, and just like US, they also have a federal government system. but the dear president is elected every 6 years, and they are also part of the NAFTA. They really take enjoying or take advantage of the NAFTA, where thousands of companies have established factory, FDI, in Mexico. So this is the Central America. Previous is North America, and this is Central America and the Caribbean. As you can see in the map, these countries, they have unstable political, chronic U.S. military intervention, inadequate educational systems, weak middle class, poverty, and import limitations. So if we do business in these countries, we are in high risk. Okay, marketplaces of Western Europe, just now is America, and this is Western Europe. European Union member countries and other countries in Western Europe. As we know, they are using EU or Euro currency. Yeah, this is the Euro countries, and this is the marketplaces of Eastern Europe. This is the former Soviet Union. And for Asia, we also have marketplaces of Asia, Japan. We have Asia Pacific, which is Australia and New Zealand, which is very important in Asia. And the Four Tigers, South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, and Hong Kong, China, India, Afghanistan, Central Republics, and Southeast Asian countries. So Japan they are among the best in Asia. Japan, in the world, they are number 3 in terms of the GDP growth and share. This is the Australia and New Zealand map. Okay, in Australia, the manufacturing industry is important contributors. Okay, and this is the Four Tigers. South Korea, you have to know this. Taiwan, Singapore, and Hong Kong. They are the fastest growing economy in Asia. And as we know, South Korea, Singapore, they are among the top in this world. Okay, China, okay, the most have the highest population in this world, and heavy FDI, because of the labor cost and and so on. And India also is number 2 in terms of population, the highly populated, and number 5 in terms of the GDP in the world. Okay, Southeast Asian, including Malaysia, of course, we are still consider have a low cost, significant FDI in recent years. Continue recovery from the crisis economy, but now, of course, we have problem with the COVID-19 pandemic. So our economic growth is not that good. So another marketplaces is Africa and the Middle East. Okay, Africa, major economies: South Africa, Ivory Coast, Algeria, and Nigeria. This is Africa. Middle East, major economics consists of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and UAE. Alright, so this is the map. This is South America, Brazil, Bolivia, and so on. Alright, okay, so this is the last part in this chapter. As a conclusion, to compete successfully in the international marketplace, manager need a basic understanding of the world's market and their interrelationships. That is why we study international business and in this chapter. So manager need to know the opportunity available in the market, to tap the business opportunity. And a key indicator of economic country desirability to international business is, of course, the per capita income. So the income will determine whether they can buy our product, they afford to buy our product or not. So the rich developed countries such as Japan, EU, US, Canada, they accounted for about 57% of the world's economy. However, a market such as China and India, they are catching up. They are equally attractive now to international business. They have rapid economic growth, and they are highly populated, so they have bigger market size. So for North American, Canada, Mexico, US, Central America, and the island countries of Caribbean, this is one of the world's largest and richest markets. So we can go there doing business with them. And still in conclusion, another large rich market is in Europe. Okay, so there are 28 members of Europe, and most have adopted market-oriented policies to stimulate economic growth. Their growth prospect and unmet consumer demand are attractive to many Asian, North American, and European multinational companies. So we go next is Asia. In Asia, this is home for several fastest growing economies of the First World War II, and of course the four tigers, have grown dramatically because of the economic policy that focus on export promotion. But of course China, emerging market of China, India, they even have enjoy even higher rates of growth during the past decades. And Australia and New Zealand also is important economies in this region. So for many African countries regained their independence during the period of 50s and 60s, and they are still heavily rely on the natural resources and agriculture. Okay, so Middle East, they have also important roles in world economy because they are rich in oil, but unfortunately, their political instability have threatened it threatened the economy. So that's all for today, and this is the final chapter. Good luck in your final exam. Thank you very much, guys. See you again. Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera.